Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about how Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was the true winner of last night's presidential debate, which he was excluded from. You might have noticed, I should say, that RFK Jr. was not in last night's CNN debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. He actually was excluded because he, quote-unquote, didn't meet the requirements, whatever. Many people debate that. But in the end, he did not participate in the debate. So what he did was hold a sort of rival event, as the AP puts it, called The Real Debate, where he answered questions that were being asked to Trump and Biden live also, and he live streamed this entire thing. There was an audience and everything. And, he was on screen right next to Trump and Biden, just in a different studio, but answering the same questions. But, this got millions upon millions of views on X and other social media sites, YouTube, etc. And that, was really exciting for the Kennedy campaign. I think it got an outpouring of support. Elon Musk came out, said, yeah, this is worth watching, and all that. But really, this rival debate isn't even why he won the debate. It was simply because of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. They made Robert F. Kennedy Jr. the true winner of the debate last night. So first of all, looking at Donald Trump and Joe Biden, this was a question asked to voters who watched the debate, who won and who lost the debate. 60.1% of respondents said that Trump won, 20.8% said Biden won, the rest of the about 20% said they didn't know or they were undecided or whatever. So Donald Trump over Joe Biden was the clear favorite. Now, that was expected. Joe Biden had an awful night. Even in the first 5 minutes, he had a major freeze. He just had a major pause and lack of train of thought, which hurt him badly, and he knew he messed up big time, and really that affected his whole demeanor, at least in the first entire segment. He kind of recovered from there a little bit, but still, it was a really awful night for Joe Biden. Anyone who says he won the debate is just going to be his diehard supporters who just don't want to give Trump any points. Now, choosing out of these two, obviously, Donald Trump won this debate. But if you really watch the debate, I don't think that anyone who watched the debate really thinks that Donald Trump had a good night either. If you look at the transcript of what he said, it was complete nonsense, right? I think that a lot of people, excuse me, that many people saw through it. Maybe many didn't at all. But, possibly it didn't even matter because Joe Biden was just such a disaster that people responded positively towards Donald Trump speaking just because he could actually get out a sentence easily and make points. Joe Biden was incapable of doing that last night in the debate. So Donald Trump overall, a good night, but still when you look at the substance, it was really a awful performance by both of these men. Even Donald Trump didn't lay out a vision, was still talking about the January 6th defendants and still being extremely pro-life on the abortion issue. All he had to do was act normal and let Biden self-destruct, and he didn't even manage to do that. So both of these men had awful nights. And this is perfectly demonstrated when you look at the support gained by these men. So this is Joe Biden. Before the debate, 48.2% of likely voters said that they would consider voting for Joe Biden, 48.2%. After the debate, that sunk to 46.7%. Now, Donald Trump, on the other hand, he's being characterized as this big winner of the debate. He beat Biden by 40 points in the question of who won the debate. 40 points. It was 60% to 20%. A 40-point margin in that question. Still, Donald Trump started with 43.5%, said that they would consider supporting him, the voters. And then after the debate, it rose to 43.9%. That is a 0.4% increase for Donald Trump. 0.4% is incremental. That's nothing. That's in the margin of error. He might have gotten, and I would not be surprised that he gained zero support after this debate. Because, yes, Biden may have lost support because he was a complete disaster. But Donald Trump, again, by any means, did not have a good night. He simply didn't. It was an awful debate performance by him as well. So, yes, of course, we're going to see Biden lose support, but I would not think from this debate that Trump would automatically gain support, and this is demonstrated right here. He only rose 0.4%. That's so small where that might be, the margin of error in the poll. He might have gained nothing nationwide, right, if the poll is just a little bit off. But then you look at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, this is so interesting. Despite Kennedy not being in the debate at all, we see that he started with 17.3%, and he rose to 18.4%. He gained 1.1%. That, again, this is voters who are considering supporting these candidates. He rose by 1.1%. That is much more, of course, than Joe Biden, who went down. And that is substantially more than double, almost triple, the increase that Donald Trump saw. So how interesting is that? The man who had to, create a entire rival event and was not included in this debate, he is the one who gained the most support after this debate. And again, that is because Joe Biden and Donald Trump both had awful performances, and people are simply unhappy. And, I really don't even think it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. himself, because, just RFK Jr. Because we have many, I feel, young, liberal, or progressive Democrats who, were backing Joe Biden, who might disagree with him on a lot of fundamental issues like Gaza, and that whole issue, maybe Ukraine, among other things, and universal health care. They don't believe Biden is progressive enough. I believe you had a good amount of these progressive or liberal Democrats watching the debate beforehand saying, I guess I will bite my tongue and vote for Joe Biden to stop Donald Trump. But after this debate, saying, I cannot, just because of how weak and incompetent he appeared on that stage. So I would think that they would turn to other third-party candidates, like, progressives, like Jill Stein of the Green Party, who now has ballot access in 23 states, accessible to 279 presidential electors. Or, of course, Cornel West, who is an independent, very progressive, basically aligns with Jill Stein on all issues. He's on the ballot in 6 states so far, petition waiting in 2 states, North Carolina and Michigan. As well as all the other, we have a very wide, interesting range of other third-party candidates. So people have choices this election. This is much different from 2020 and not really 2016 because you did have choices, but 2020, number one, the debate this time was, much worse, right? People were much more unhappy with this debate, I feel, than even 2020, and 2020 was known as just a complete disaster for both of them. But this time around, it looks like both of them had even worse performances than 2020. In 2020, there weren't viable third-party candidates, but now you have very notable candidates like Jill Stein, RFK Jr., Cornel West, now in the ring where people actually can turn to them. And that leads into the favorabilities. This is why, Biden and Trump are already so unpopular, both of them. Joe Biden has a disapproval rating of 56%, approval rating of 38%. That's a 17.8% net for the disapproval. Donald Trump, it looks a little bit better for him. He's at 42.1% favorability and 53.3% unfavorability. That's an 11.2% net for unfavorability. So the point is, they already started extremely unfavorable. Americans do not like Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and that was even before the debate. The debate, certified this. It certified people's emotions that I do not like these two men. These two men are not right for the nation. So that is why I believe we saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have the most increase in support, according to these polls after the debate, which I kind of expected. And, if debates like this continue, if there are more debates, and more gaffes from these two men, and Americans continue to dislike these two men strongly, I feel that we could see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. rise once again like he did at the end of last year. He's kind of fallen since then, but I could see a reality where someone like Kennedy or even Jill Stein or Cornel West rise again in the polls, if the reality sets in that these are our two choices. So maybe Kennedy does surprise a lot of people on election day with, more of these events, and more Americans realize that they really hate Donald Trump and Joe Biden just as much as they thought they did before watching a debate like last night. Then maybe when people go to the polls, they will say, who cares, I'm voting for RFK Jr. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. It helps out a lot. Also, drop a comment to let me know your thoughts. That's always interesting to hear. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.